What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? So let me be the first to welcome you to the inaugural, or the first, or whatever y'all want to call it, show of Build a Man, the Build a Man podcast, the Build a Man web series, whatever type of name y'all want to give it. But welcome, 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 welcome. We appreciate you all joining us here. This is a show that has been a kind of a long time coming for myself. I don't know, why it's taking me so long to go ahead and get this thing off the ground, but I'm going to blame it on my producer. But we're here this evening just to talk to you a little bit about, what the show's going on, and then kind of with a breakdown, we're going to talk about some a little bit of personal backstory. We're going to give you some business tips, and then we're going to go into the next segment where I'm going to be joined by two guests here, and you don't want to miss any of this information. We're going to be doing some good things for the rest of this season, so we can go ahead and get right into it. I'm gonna give you a little bit of information about myself, a little bit of background story. I will be your host for the entire season. My name is Dr. Jermaine Johnson. I just recently got my doctorate. You can go ahead and apply for me. So I will be addressing myself as Dr. Jermaine Johnson as your host. We're going to be talking about business, personal development, and as well as some political type current events type stuff, just some things and some ways that men can kind of build upon themselves so we can just become better individuals to help our community. So as y'all women know, when women do something, y'all will show up and show out. Y'all will show up and show all the way out. So, I can't even count how many women's empowerment groups and women's empowerment conferences and women's empowerment business summits and women's empowerment trips, and y'all got a lot out there. So it's about time that us men kind of get together and try to build with each other, try to really invest in our spirits and invest just kind of back in who we are, just so we could take back, what we're supposed to be doing for our families, for our communities. Because back in the day, we used to, have the old man down the street that if you were doing something wrong, he would chastise you and spank you, and then by the time you got to your house, your daddy spank you too. So it's about time we get back to that way. So let's just jump right on into the first part, which we're going to talk a little bit about some business aspects. So I have my doctorate in business administration. I've got a master's degree in project management, and my undergraduate is actually in communications. So I know a little bit about business. I have a nonprofit organization called New Economic Beginnings Foundation, where we help the underserved citizens of this community to get job placement and job training, job skills. I've also got a consulting firm called Dream Team Consulting, where we help companies with workforce development. We help them with organizational assessments and, just regular out business consulting for any individuals. But before I get into that, actually, I'll give you a little background on my history. So I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. My family was living in South Central. We had family that was all over the place down there. So I came from there. I moved around quite seriously in California, all over the place, all over Southern California. And, I kind of stayed in a little bit of trouble down there. I got into some stuff. I got a few brothers that were out there getting into some situations as well. I have another brother that was in Desert Storm, military veteran, and I come from the '80s, so what happened in the '80s. The crack epidemic hit us all hard, and my family was not spared from that. So I've lost family and friends to drugs, gang violence, jail, all of that stuff, but I still persevered. I went to 7 different high schools. I had a .8 GPA. Let me say that again. I had a .8 GPA. So that kind of lets you know that, I came from nothing, being homeless and living in motels and things like that. I came from nothing to get where I'm at today, to being Dr. Johnson. So just as kind of a empowerment moment for you all, to let you know that, it doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where you start. Your past does not define your future. So understand that you can still be who you want to be. You can start where you're at now, and you can still be a successful individual. Because if you can just think about the fact that it's 7 different high schools and a .8 GPA, and now I'm Dr. Johnson. You just think about that. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. So just know that you can do it. You can do it as well. But back to the business aspects of it. So I know a lot of people around here are trying to figure out some easy ways to make some money. A lot of people are like, man, look, I don't know how to make some money. I just trying to figure out, how can I make money in my sleep? How can I put a few extra dollars in my pocket? Because people don't understand, especially with this political race that's coming up for the presidency. A lot of people are saying, man, well, what am I going to do? With the fact that we're losing jobs, or we're losing this, or we're losing that, and we got automation that's happening. That's one thing y'all need to think about is automation with technology and stuff that's putting a lot of y'all out of work. But some different ways on how y'all can make money. I'm going to give you about 3 different, suggestions on how you can make a few dollars, while you're sleeping. The first one I'm talking about is drop shipping. Does anybody know what drop shipping is? If you don't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So drop shipping is actually selling products that you don't have. Let me say it again. Selling products that you do not have. You don't actually have to own those products. So you can actually start a Facebook page for your shop and actually open up a Shopify account and I believe the other one is called Oberlu or something like that. So you can actually get Oberlu and also get Shopify and then get your Facebook page. So the Oberlu actually is free. And you get the Shopify and the Facebook page is actually going to cost you about $9 a month. All right. So with this $9 a month, what you're paying for is actually the method in which you're going to be drop shipping these items. So you go to Oberlu, you pick out all the things that you want your shop to actually sell, and you just put it on the little download list. The download list sends it over to Shopify. The Shopify, you connect your Shopify account, you click connect with your Facebook page. It goes right to your Facebook page. Everything gets uploaded on your Facebook page. People will actually be able to purchase items off of your Facebook page that you don't even own. So you can actually name your business Christmas time events or whatever, and you can go on there and actually upload all Christmas items to your Facebook page. You don't have to hold any type of inventory. You don't have to have anything. You don't have to worry about the headache of anything. All you have to do is collect your money every single month. Now that sounds like a good idea or a good plan, don't you think? So you're actually not even worrying about the inventory or anything like that. You just are collecting money. All right. So the next tip number 2. I advise you, if you know anything better than any other people, if you ever had anybody come to you and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Or can you show me how to do this? Or man, like you do this really well, or you do this great, or whatever. You can become a consultant. People pay big money for people who know things that they don't know. So like I have a consulting company right now. See, I made it into a consulting firm. And I'm going to tell you why I made it into a consulting firm rather than just being a consultant. As a consulting firm, I can bring in a whole bunch of different people that know stuff that I don't know. And I can put them all underneath my firm. And we can go out and get contracts all over in different industries all over the place. But for you, if you just want to start off, you can actually just be a consultant. So let's say you can be a bakery consultant. If you know how to bake goods very well, you can be a police officer consultant where you go train the police officers. You can be leadership consultant. If people say you got to get a lot of influence, a charismatic individual, you can go teach people how to speak. You can be a book consultant where you can teach people how to write, teach people how to publish. You can be a consultant for all different types of things. Education consultant. So these are contracts you can make up on your own. They have templates online that you can actually go on there and download to where you don't have to actually write anything. You can go download the template and you can actually just go ahead and just utilize it, change up the words a little bit and put your business name on it, and you'll be all right. And you can actually start a consulting business like overnight. In terms of getting your LLC, people don't know how easy it is to get your LLC now. So now you can actually just go onto the Secretary of State website and actually pay $110, type your name in, make sure your business name is available, pay that $110. Now you have a full-fledged business. So these things have just become, very easy in the past few years. Very easy to actually start your business. I've got about 4 of them started up. So I mean, it's a simple process. But being a consultant is probably one of the easiest because there's a job that you've probably been working at for 10 years, 15 years. Some of y'all have been working at this job for 20 years doing the same thing over and over again. You have now become a subject matter expert, and people will pay you to teach other people how to do your job. That's money right there. Consultants can get, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for 1 hour a week. That's a lot of money that you could be using to buy some new Jordans, some Doritos, buy your new car, pay some of your bills. All right. So make sure you check out that consulting thing. And the last one that I wanted to talk about was actually starting a home-based telemarketing company. Now there's a few of them that you can use, but the one that I've heard the most about is the company called Arise. You can actually start a company with Arise where you can be you can hire people underneath you and pay them, you can pay them $10 an hour, and you can actually be making $14, $15 an hour. So they get a 10, and your company, because they're employed under you, you're making a $4 or $5 profit off of everybody that's there, and you're doing this from the comfort of your home. So I think they charge a minimal fee for you signing up, and you got to get some of the training that they'll give you. But anyways, the jobs are available. You can work for places like Carnival. You can work for places like, that's the Carnival cruise line. You can work for places like like UPS and stuff like that, where you'll be answering questions or not. Matter of fact, you don't have to do it yourself. You can just have other people do it, and then you'll be making the money sitting in the background, just hanging out and doing that. You can start your own call center if you want it. So this is all stuff that you can do, home-based businesses, so where you don't even have to leave the comfort of your home, and that's the same thing also with the drop shipping and the consultant. You can have your offices right there in your house, so you don't have to actually leave your house, and you can start making you some money. So this is some easy ways for us men to actually start doing some things. Now, there's a lot of women that have already been up the game on that, man, but I'm trying to give y'all the secrets to success, man. A lot of women have already been doing these things, and if you actually go on YouTube and start looking at the telemarketing stuff, you'll see a lot of women that have review videos on there talking about Arise and all that. So they've been keeping the secret from us, man. They've been holding out with us. So go on out there, check some things out, and make sure you get yourself some of this easy money that's out there, because you can definitely benefit from all the stuff that's out there. Definitely can. So what would you say if I had a military veteran and a police veteran in here to discuss some of the issues that are going on in our community, in our nation? What would you say about that? All right. Well, you don't want to miss what we got going on, so stay tuned, because that's coming up next.
All right, let's come back with something like we're back, and then go into it. I'm gonna count you in. 3, 2, 1.
We're back here with Build a Man. We're back, and I appreciate y'all for hanging on. Appreciate you. And I'm joined here by two great men. Some they might have different perspectives, but we're going to get to the bottom of a lot of these situations that we're talking, these community issues that probably are plaguing a lot of us right now. I really just, I had a great interest in this, so that's why when I talked to these individuals, I said, man, both of y'all have to be on this first show so we can really talk this thing out and we can kind of get some understanding. So I'm going to turn it over to my right here and let him to introduce himself.
Hey, my name's Alvin King. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a 20-year Army combat veteran, recently published author.
Yeah.
So I do have a leadership consultant firm.
Oh.
And, I'm involved in the community, both the veteran and children community, on the executive board of 2 nonprofit groups. And I'm just excited to be here.
Man, appreciate you being here, brother. Appreciate you being here. And my left.
Well, I'm Jason Roberts. I'm from Columbia, born and raised here, have been here all of my life. I'm a 20-year law enforcement veteran. And kind of like the same thing as a young man here. 20 years worth of experience. 20 years worth of seeing things that some things I wish I could take back and not see.
Probably didn't like.
but with that, I gained a lot of experience and was able to help a lot of people. I am actually currently a candidate to become the next Richland County Sheriff.
All right.
So I threw my name in the hat. I think that it's time. I know that it's time for a change in Richland County, and I represent that change.
All right. So, gentlemen, there's just a few questions I've been thinking about, and I believe our viewers are going to be really interested in hearing some of y'all's responses. So, the first question I have here is police brutality a thing? Now, a lot of people say if he would have just complied, it wouldn't have been like that. So, is police brutality a thing? And I'm gonna start with the veteran over here with the police force.
The short answer is yes. Police brutality is a thing. Now, what I will tell you with the with the body cams, with the video surveillance now of officers, with people that have their smartphones, their cell phones, those instances are less likely to happen. Mm-hmm. But it is a thing. It can still happen. It's real. And I think that I know that it happens when police officers are human beings, and everybody has feelings, emotions, and people have breaking points. You get angry. You have different things going on. Well, they're humans. And if they aren't able to separate their emotions from a situation, it's easy to go overboard and do something that ends up being brutal or brutality or too much force.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. King?
I'm going to echo basically what he said, just in a different aspect, is that yes, short answer, it is a thing. But now I think it's more evident because of the accountability factor. Just like you said, there's a lot more social media stuff going on. There's people videoing, there's the body cams. So police brutality, yes, is a thing, and people carry their issues with them on their sleeve every day, both on the police force as well as in the civilian population. So it's just when things go wrong, they can really go wrong.
But what do y'all say to people who say, well, if he would have just complied, if he would have just, what do y'all say to that?
Well, heat of the moment situations. So now people have to, think at snap judgment. So, you start to get into what or how much training that officer has had in escalation or de-escalation training. And, as far as on the civilian side, they haven't had any training. So they're just, frustrated with their day. It might have been pulled over speeding, whatever the case may be. But there's this conflict that just starts to boil and bubble, and then, things happen from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that aspect, that leads me to my next question. What is the difference in training when it comes to military and police personnel? And what is the difference in training when it comes to civilian interaction training from police and military personnel?
Well, from the police side, all we deal with are civilians. And so, really, policing goes back centuries and back to Sir Robert Peel and community policing, where he stated that the people are the police and the police are the people. So you as a police officer, you're not supposed to separate yourself from the community. And so that is the way that you're trained. That is the way that you should conduct yourself. You should never act like you're better than another person, because we're all the same. God made us all, and we all make mistakes. Some police officers speed. But at the same time, there has to be a standard. And so police officers are trained to make sure that we are protecting the citizens, but at the same time maintaining a standard of professionality. As far as the military, I don't have a military background. Mm-hmm. I got into law enforcement. I got hired at the age of 21 by Alan Sloan, the former sheriff, several years ago, and all of my experience has been in the law enforcement realm. So I would have to let the young man, and I'm sorry,
Alvin.
Mr. Alvin. I have to let Mr. Alvin speak on the military portion.
So the difference I see police to military is, we train a little bit more regularly on situational events because we're subject to go to a lot of different places. So we're going to places where people are hostile versus, being a police officer, which, the mantra is protect and serve, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we're not going to places to protect and serve. We, it might advise and assist. We might be direct conflict. So there's a different aspect with training because everything is, you can't do just whatever you want and not be held accountable because, you're in a foreign country and there's definitely some accountability. The biggest thing I see training wise is, we go through drills and we drill and we drill and we drill and we drill until it's there and then we drill some more. And so, having friends who are on, the police force, it's not the same training, it's budget wise, you can't always pull somebody out and say, you're going to do this much training, X amount of hours. So, for me, throughout the week, our 8-week training cycle is there's training to a culmination event, and then we reset after that 8 weeks and we train again for the next 8 weeks. So we're always focused on training like we fight.
Ongoing and consistent.
Yeah, Rod.
In your idea, would you say, in your opinion, that police need more training with civilian interactions?
Without a doubt. I mean, just growing up in Brooklyn, I can tell you stories of being sat down on my hands, pushed up against walls, put cuffs on, and it was just for standing on a corner or just coming out of a store. And it's not to say that there was anything wrong when you need to control a situation. I understand that now as a retired military veteran. When I want to control a situation, I control the situation. Right. And so there has to always be somebody in charge. However, when you get back to community policing and people who are removed from that community, so most officers nowadays don't live in the community they police. So I think that's an issue because they can't say, just like he said in his intro, the guy up the block is like, hey, Jerome was acting up. I got him. Right. But, when you get home, you go ahead and put something on him too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
If I could speak to that real quick. If I'm elected to become the next sheriff, I'm going to re-implement a program called the Resident Deputy Program. And basically what the Resident Deputy is the deputy works and lives in the community that he serves. So that will make that officer, that deputy, he knows his neighbors, he knows their kids, his kids goes to school with their kids. You know each other and you police differently. Mm-hmm. When you know people, when you care about them, when you have a genuine, concern for people, you police different. You treat them different. Mm-hmm. If I live in Orangeburg and I come to Richland County to work in police, there's a disconnect. Mm-hmm. And so there's no personal attachment. And so you can treat people with disdain, with disrespect, because you don't have to see these same people walking in Walmart with your family, at church, at school,
in the community.
In the community, you don't have to see them there. So yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I guess the police need to get more training, ain't it?
Agreed.
All right. This is a question because this came from my home state, and it was a situation that happened in Sacramento. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. Can a cell phone really be mistaken for a gun?
That's I have a very big issue. I've policed for 20 plus years. I take a very big issue with the police officer that is in fear. And if you're in fear, what tends to happen is you react off of what you thought you saw. Mm-hmm. And that's how officers are getting off. They're like, well, I was in fear for my life. They were telling the truth. They were in fear. But the issue is I believe that police officers ought to be protectors. And before you squeeze that trigger, you have to say, I had no other choice. Not I was in fear of my life, or I thought that I saw this. You can't think that you saw a gun. You have to know what you saw. And so that again, that is a personality issue. Those are some of the things that need to be looked at as it relates to humans and your reactions with people. There's certain officers that certain Caucasian officers that have a fear of African Americans.
Yes.
And so with the cell phone, in my personal opinion, in my professional opinion, if you don't see a gun, if you don't see it, no, you should not mistake a cell phone for a gun. I don't care if they point it at you. I would much rather my life be taken before I take an innocent life. And that is the mindset that officers must have. Before I take an innocent life, if I'm not sure, I have to make sure, because that's an innocent life.
So I look at it a little bit different, just from going back to the last segment is training. So if I'm not comfortable in my situation, I'm not trained to be there at that current moment, right? And so now, if I don't have the proper training, how do I handle the situation? So I make reactionary decisions off of impulse. And so now the issue for me is that I have this Batman pistol belt with all these different levels
all kind of stuff
of escalation of force.
That's
and
right.
So why is my first level lethality?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because now you are judge, jury, and executioner.
Right.
And so the reality is so you go back to training. If I only go once a year to qualify my weapon, and all I'm hitting is a 25-meter target at the silhouette, then when I pull out my service revolver, what do you think I'm going to do to somebody with a cell phone in their hand or with a gun? I mean, at the end of the day, we go back to protect and serve, right? That's on the dashboard. That's everywhere. And the goal should be protect and serve. So we have to bring people to justice, put them through the justice system. We don't want to bring them to the mortuary.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, the issue is, no, a cell phone, you should until you feel a hostile, when a hostile intention goes to a hostile threat, you know that difference.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So if somebody's reaching back in their car, they're reaching back in their car.
Right.
If they pull out something, they pull out something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But that's all training based. And so now if you jumping on that, you just came from pulling somebody over doing 90 miles an hour and whatever the case may be, and your wife just texted you and said the baby's sick, and you got a lot going on. So there's a lot of external factors that go on, but when you get into a situation, you have to be within that situation.
Or you walk around and you got your hand on your gun already. When you come up to the car, stuff like that. So you done already escalated the situation with your hand on the gun. So now I'm nervous, and now everybody nervous because you got your hand on your gun.
Well, and if I can say this, a traffic stop is the most dangerous thing for a police officer. That's where most officers get killed, and so you have to have a heightened sense of awareness when you're walking up to a vehicle. If it's the middle of the day, you're in a busy area, somebody's just speeding, you can see in the car, your reaction should be a little different than you're on a road at night, a back road somewhere that's a high crime area where you suspect drug activity or violence. So, but it goes back to training. It goes back to training, and again, leadership has to make sure that that's happening.
Oh yeah. All right, and I got the last question. We're gonna answer this one real quick. Last question. So I got two guys here, one police, one military, and I want to ask them right here on camera, on tape, on everything. How do you feel personally about the Colin Kaepernick situation? This is a military veteran.
Oh yeah, that's So everybody has a First Amendment right? That's what I served 20 years and retired to protect. So, I mean, that's his First Amendment right. Agree, disagree. At the end of the day, he has that right as a citizen. The big overall broad stroke of that is he's doing it for a reason. and that reason is starting to get a little bit more traction. And there's at least he's using his platform in a way that is beneficial to his community. People will agree, disagree, say it's absolutely the wrong thing, but at the end of the day, I just, it's his First Amendment right, one, and two, he's using his platform to bring out awareness.
As a police officer, I've had to protect KKK carrying their rebel flags. Had to make sure that they were protected. And you have to do that without the justice should be blind. And just like and I'm sorry, I keep Mr. Alvin. Yeah, just like Mr. Alvin said, there's a First Amendment right. I totally believe that it is in Colin Kaepernick's right to protest peacefully the way that he's doing it. And I believe that people should exercise their right and the way that they feel about things. I mean that I have no issue with that, and just like I protected the KKK and the rebel flag, I'll protect Colin Kaepernick and individuals just like him.
All righty. Well, everybody, we just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to our first podcast of Build a Man. We're going to be posting this stuff and ask for questions. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, reach out to us. Send your comments. We have the Facebook page, YouTube, all of that stuff. Just check us out. Reach out to these two gentlemen as well. Alvin King, how can people get in contact with you?
You can go check out the new book launched at purposefulfilled.com, and you can hit the contact button. I'll get back to you.
Mr. Roberts.
www.roberts4sheriff.com.
All right. So
I'm sorry, Roberts for Sheriff 2020.
all right. You got to throw that in there. You got to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all at the next installment of Build a Man, and y'all have a good rest of y'all's week.